Start with hard and fast. Let's start with, well, I mean, this was already pulled up.
They're both open.
Oh, they are. Let's start with Blackman. Because that's a little closer to happening and it's like we're more conceptual.
Then they
So you might want to. Yeah, sure. Start.
And
But that thing, they just sit on silent.
is it on? Was it on? What is it?
Hi. So it is 6 o'clock and I really want to respect everybody's time. So I'm gonna give a couple more minutes just to let this is traffic and rain, which hasn't rained in however long, and now it rains when we have this meeting, which is awesome. Anyways, just wait a couple more minutes. I do want to try to keep this to an hour. I think everybody kind of wants to get home and go to dinner, but again, respecting everybody's time. We are recording this, so I have to let you know that this meeting is being recorded. And I will have a link to it later that I will put out so that people, if they couldn't make it tonight, or you, if you want to refer back to it, can refer back to it. So we're going to start with the Blackman Road update because that's much closer to happening. And we've got the designs and the thought processes behind it. The Harding Place is in more of a conceptual idea. And because it's a TDOT state route, there's other things we have to wait on. So that project is more like a 2025 when it's going to be repaved. We'll do these things. So we don't have an actual design. We'll show you the concept that we're thinking about, but very specific, like where outside of the intersections, obviously there will be a break where you would turn onto another street. But there's going to be some other breaks to allow people like you to turn into your driveways and things like that. We don't have that down to that granular level of design. So I'm going to turn it over to NDOT. Start with Blackman Road, like I said, and then we'll open it up for questions. And then we'll go to Harding Place and open up questions. Or wherever you want to go. Just not here. Yeah.
Fortunately, this is my laptop. Anyway, my name is Jason Sullivan, work for NDOT, deal with a lot of different things, signals to traffic. There's a lot of streets, you know, that are ranked in that program. What's challenging is there's a lot of roadways that have a lot of volume. We exceed those thresholds for the program. So we still look at our volume streets, arterials even, to see what we can do to slow traffic down. But it is challenging, and I'll just go through that. Blackman is a collector, and you may have seen some of this before, some of this presentation. I'm not sure if it's been shown before. There has been some, past traffic calming done before on Blackman. Some of this has been, even related to research on to slow folks down, tricking the eye and making the driver think they're going faster than they really are. Markings and things like that. So, to my knowledge, your road, I think, is the only one that has zigzag patterns. There may be others out there, Edison. But I've seen this across the country. It's mixed reviews. I'm sure you speak to that. This slide here actually had some consultants use some big data software, look and see you know, how much cut through traffic you have on Blackman. Uh, see that number. So 65% are finding a way to where they're going through Blackman that aren't really coming from. But you guys probably need that too. Right now, the last, I think, 3 years, actually going back 3 or 4 years, the volume has kind of fluctuated. I think in COVID it dropped a bit, obviously. But kind of the norm for your roadway is like from 14,000 to 16,000, which is kind of getting really close to that arterial threshold. So there's a lot of traffic, unfortunately, finding its way to Blackman. I don't know for sure why that is, because that 65% is a huge cut through. Parting is that bad? Is that okay? The parking lot. Okay, so that's not good. So, and I think, you know, nationwide, you know, from the freeways, once they start getting jammed up, you know, thanks to Google Maps and other, yes, and then our arterials fill up, you know, signals every, you know, 1,000 feet or whatever. Yes, start bouncing you into local streets, so, or collectors. So, you know, I think that's primarily what's happening here. I would say just the whole creek is experiencing not just Blackman, but there's a lot of are experiencing just crazy volume. And that's the other risk here with Blackman. If you know, for dams or whatever all the way down Blackman, that traffic's going to go somewhere. Parting is a parking lot, the roadway is a parking lot. Somebody who's further off of Blackman, they're now going to experience what the folks on Blackman are experiencing with all of this volume. It's just a crazy amount. So you all have probably seen this. I think we've got some cushions deployed. This is, you know, kind of what we traditionally do with our phone program. It works. I mean, on average, we see drops, you know, 12 miles an hour, 13 miles an hour when we put cushions out. Highest drop I've seen with feedback zones is like 6 miles an hour. So down cushions work. The problem with cushions is just their patience when it comes to their manufacturer ratings. From 4,000 ADT to 6,500 is kind of the range of what cushions can handle. You know, there's other jurisdictions. Virginia, actually, I think primarily uses asphalt pumps. I think Mount Juliet uses asphalt pumps. We don't do asphalt. I think some of the challenges, and you probably could look up some YouTube videos that show dumping pumps, you know, and going airborne. Sometimes the ability to install those correctly to keep cars from not doing crazy things is sometimes difficult on the construction side. If somebody is speeding, or keeping a car from flying into somebody's yard. I think there's slide here too. This is with the cushions, raised crosswalks, even raised intersections. These are some of the application tolerances. 1,000 to 6,500 for speed cushions, humps, and tables. Traffic logics is who we use. Hours, and there's 5,000 max ADT. And this is really what they're trying to do with this 5,000 is let you know if you want 5 to 10 years of cushion staying on the road and not getting knocked into the ditch or whatever, you know, within the first, second year, your ADTs need to be this level. You get higher than that. Memphis actually has a great presentation. See that last year. Memphis has a traffic calming program, and they have some slides of some roads that they put cushions out on the rubber material. And there's just chunks of cushions all over the place that have been knocked out of the asphalt. So they definitely have challenges applying those. They probably have the highest. Actually, I don't know if they still have 7,000 AT. They've changed that recently, but it's the highest in the country. Raised crosswalks up to 9,000. Max AT and raised intersections 10,000. Anyway, a lot of times if you raise crosswalks in your intersections, usually they're pedestrian volume areas, usually curbing and storm drainage. Those areas, more of an urban sidewalk feel to the areas where you usually see those. Places where they're installed, where they're not really expected by the driver. See a YouTube video of somebody shooting some police videos. Police cars goes to the airport. Those are kind of what you're looking at as far as volumes. And again, Blackman is just really high volume. So I was looking across the ocean to Europe and also Canada. They had some applications. These are, we've done some flex posts before in the little zigzag area. Fortunately, I think where those posts are, it was kind of, you're going downhill, and I think you ended up running over with seeing them before you see them. So these are a little bit different. These are like, almost like your crosswalk gateways, where you have a larger piece. You can see there, it's 50 kilometers an hour. You see the larger sign on the center line, and you see basically linear flex post, 36 inches, that is right at the white edge line. And they have these staggered. That picture on the left was the manufacturer's website after they were installed. This is a Google Street View that I pulled today. So you can see laser. You can see it's worn a bit, so it's been hit, but it's still there. And these are like more of a heavy duty, not some of the cheap posts that you've seen on the road. There's even some like posts out there that are used on freeways by DOTs that can get hit 70 miles an hour. Still good and ready for the next car. So I took that and modified it just a bit. So you still have the sign. This is like a car going, let's just say it's going westbound on Blackman. And again, this is not scale. The sign is smaller. But you've got basically a sign on the double yellow line. You have on the edge line. And this is just, what we could potentially do side of a cushion. We also have the road narrow signs in advance of this, but basically what we're trying to do is this is basically just a pinch point. We've done this in traffic calming before. A lot of times, bulb outs, you'll see a concrete bulb out. There's lots of ways to do a pinch point. This is a pinch point. This is just a different way. Using flex posts, harder materials. Got some of these in a bag. These raised cable markers. These can be used to help what would be a challenge on Blackman. There's no street lighting, so at night, you see the flex posts reflected. You can see the center. You can see the edge. Oh, you do have street lighting? Oh, I must have been driving too fast because I didn't see them. But anyway, so they're. So that'll help. I would say you got the best street lighting. It's all in Nashville. That's the needs. And we're working on that. So the idea with RPMs is not only to make sure you're in your lane, but also we can potentially do a couple RPM sides so that if you are approaching this sign here, this one here is actually just outside the double yellow, so it would be kind of right in this area. So basically, the car, the driver would feel, oh, I'm getting close to that sign, oh, I'm getting close to that post. So that they, and I've even got some little white squares up there. This is like a top-down view where you can see, you're going to feel that, that raised pavement marker, and you'll see it before you hitting the post. So, like, what typically hits the post is not the car, it's the landscape that's behind the car. So they start to feel that back trailer tire hitting the little RPM pump. They know to kind of correct. But the idea is to place basically an array of these so that it's very comfortable to do it at 45 miles an hour. It's more comfortable to do it at 25 miles an hour. Get through this pinch point. I've got an example. I can't remember where I did this. Somewhere in the straightaway, the freeway section of Blackman. This is just kind of an example.
It's past Timberdale.
Okay, so you guys know your road. Y'all probably have like waited at your edge of your driveway long enough to kind of memorize everything about it. So basically, we have like a white reflective marker here, not only to just kind of emphasize where the post is, just kind of line up the vehicle so they get a heads up that they will more than likely, if they're not lined up, they'll feel the little bump, the little marker when they went over with their time. It's not going to be huge, but I mean, everybody's going with the yellow line here, hold up a little marker, have it out there. We don't do this a lot. We don't do these three markers, but on the freeway, on T-Dot roadways, you'll see it.
So those little bumps are gonna slow this traffic down?
No, not so. The pinch point will slow the traffic down.
And how many pinch,
How
pinch?
So in Canada, it was in 300 feet. What I'm proposing in places is 400. So the sign here, there would be another sign 400 feet away, another sign 400 feet away. And what I'd like to do is not do our road at once, but pick out strategic locations to do a rate of like 1,200 feet, so you have another array of 3 pinch points, just to kind of measure the success of this, because we haven't really done this type of application here at Davidson. We've done a little crosswalk gateway where we stick a sign like on Main Street, downtown Nashville, east of 24. I think there's a couple of crosswalks where we've done a little gateway sign. But just doing the center line gateway sign, based on studies, it'll only drop the speed at most like 5 miles per hour. But they have had success. It's just a narrowing thing. We're just basically kind of tightening up the road. They can see it tighten up, and they have a warning that it's tight, so that they kind of change their behavior. But yeah, there's been research that shows 34.8 miles an hour, 80th percentile drop into 20 feet, 11.8 mile per hour drop, which is getting really, really close to our cushion reduction. So anyway, I was hoping to maybe try this here on Blackman to see how it performs, because right now, the only thing we do is put cushions out to try to get these reductions. But if we could do something a little bit different and still get that kind of drop, that might work in some places. So,
Do a combination, should the applicants?
well, that's a good question. I think what I would like to do is a combination of things with arting and with slowing down vehicles out here and potentially going back and see what the post-construction or installation speeds are. And then also do counts on the traffic to see if we get a drop in traffic that would allow us to closer to a cushion application. You see what I'm saying? Because if we can tell, you know, Blackman volume to go somewhere else and they actually do go somewhere else, then we could potentially put something in that we can get. So.
Before we open up questions,
Have you sat on what, physically sat on Blackman Road at any time?
I have sat on Blackman at around 3 p.m. at
But you're not at a house or on a side street, you're sitting in traffic.
sitting in traffic. No, yeah, I've just been, well, not sitting, I've been following a line of cars like this one. Behind that truck is a line that you can't even get out of.
So what you're talking about is the passenger vehicle, correct? Or
It would be,
the dump truck, like the one I saw that's probably driving 50 the other day because he was, all of the construction crews, people that cut trees.
School
the school buses, yeah, they'll cuss you out. And then let's see, I saw a tractor trailer.
Yeah.
Because I work from home, my visual is out that window.
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
I don't know would that work for that? Because the dump truck will run over people.
so I asked to go over this presentation a couple days ago so that I would know what we were going to be. And I live on the corner of Blackman and Salem, so I'm fully aware of the traffic on Blackman, and I have been since I moved in. So Blackman is too high a volume for the typical traffic calming program. And it's not a street, even though we put it in and they put the radar feedback signs and all that. It's really not, and I've worn y'all out. Have I not? I've worn y'all out. Well, it's mostly Brad Bruce, but anyway, I've worn them out. About wanting a vertical measure, meaning something that you drive over. Because that is what I know slows people down. You don't slow down to go over the hump's gonna car. So that's a free car, great, but it works. So I personally, so to hear that the volumes were so high, they weren't even a little bit. I mean, I think even if they were 7,000 or 8,000, I could have probably twisted their arm. But it's like 3 times as much volume as what the manufacturer will says to use, right? And so at that point, if they start to fall apart, like he says happens in Memphis, and it starts causing damage to cars or it causes a wreck, at that point, because we have gone outside of the manufacturer's recommended whatever specs, then Nashville Metro is in a liable situation, which that's not what we want. And I don't want someone to get hurt either. So at that point, they're looking at it going, what can we do with these high volumes? So what I'll tell you is, we're going to try it. We're going to try it out, just like we tried the zigzag thing, which worked for a brief moment, and now it does not. But it was cute, wasn't it?
it is cute.
It was cute. It was cute. What I will say that I asked them to do, in addition to these sign things, which are going to be different than the bollards that we put at the bottom of the hill. You remember those bollards that were up, the pole things? Those things were being knocked down. As soon as they would put them up, they'd knock them down again. It was just constant. So I just told them to stop putting them up because this is insanity. I asked them to, if you visually narrow, if you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the road narrows, you immediately slow down because you want to run off the road. And so that's what most of this is. It's not about a vertical measure that's going to force you to, if you hit it, you'll feel it, these little bump things. But it's not going to be like a speed cushion that will really mess your bumper's going to come off. But it will narrow the field of vision and that will naturally slow you down. studies have shown that it's worked as well. You're looking at an 11.8 mile an hour drop. That's significant. In other places, all we can do is try. And what I will tell you is that I'm really good at just wearing people out. And so if this doesn't work, then we go back to the drawing board and we just continue to look at things. Maybe in the meantime, there's another product that comes out that can withstand it as a possible vertical measure that would withstand the types of volume. I don't see this solution diverting enough traffic to get down to 5,000 or 6,000 and 15,000 a day. It's not going to go drop by 65%. I don't see that. But if we can just get folks to slow down, if people would just go the speed limit, now it's 30 miles an hour. If we're at an average of 42 right now, is that what we said, 42?
Yeah, 42, 42.
Yeah, if we can go down to, 11.8 drop and it's down to 30 miles an hour, then I would consider that a huge, huge plus. So I know that you in particular, Heidi, are disappointed that we're not getting, I am disappointed. It's just not something that's, so we're just going to continue, we're going to try this and hope to God that it works. And if it doesn't, we'll, at first you don't succeed.
The only thing on the side of the road are those little raised things. So once people get used to, they'll just. So the ballards that were torn over before, I mean, essentially
So these bollards are so much stronger. So they can withstand.
Yeah, I'm gonna be using like a free level. So it's,
Almost.
like that sidewalk.
The thought process of, yes, when you see, whoop, I've got to go here. The other thing that I asked them to do is you can see. This is what's here now, asking them to widen that, which will additionally narrow that field. It also will push out of the center line because you don't want people head-on collisions. So the more that you can push people out, I think better. So we're going to try that as well, right?
the hope too is also just if the vehicles do slow down, which is what we're shooting at each one of these kind of pinch points, that would hopefully open up a gap for somebody pulling out. So it's just, there's a hope that we can just start to see these gaps. Yeah.
Which is just a very back of your line of traffic.
Yeah.
And it has no grace. I mean, there's this much from the white to my ditch of pavement.
Yeah, there's no shoulder. I agree.
So when you push them out, then they're going, I mean, this is great. I am too disappointed. But when you push them out, they get too close to the edge, which I've seen many times. They'll drive off in somebody's ditch, and I got a deep ditch.
Well, and then maybe they won't do that again.
No, they just keep on.
So we're not going to change the behavior of every single person. No question about it. There's going to be people that are just going to still fly through there all the time. But on average, we can get the majority of the people to slow down and win. Is it going to slow down people like you're talking about, construction, this, that, and the other? You would think so because their vehicles are bigger, so that they would be a little bit more sensitive to narrowing. But that remains to be seen. There's always going to be that it just doesn't.
I was gonna say.
That guy.
That's part of the problem. Is, yes.
Yeah.
Which they do. And they're not supposed to because I've seen the police officer give them.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're thinking outside the box. This isn't something that Nashville's done before, so I appreciate that they're looking elsewhere for solutions to try to figure out what we can do to slow traffic on streets, because we have a lot of these streets that have high volume. And so this is a pilot to see kind of what happens and see if we can put it throughout the rest of the city as well. So we're looking, we're trying,
we're just gonna keep on trying.
Yeah, I mean, we're saying no to a lot of folks in this regard. You know, there's another street down there that has 10,000, there's another with 12, there's another, and we just say, no, 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 and we stick up the feedback sign, and, you know, that's about all we have in our toolbox when we move away from the cushions. That doesn't, you know, take, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do concrete and all of that, so.
Whispering Hills doesn't have so Whispering Hills has cushions. So that tells you right there, if everybody comes out Blackman and they cut down the fibers, they're going to Multimodal and all that stuff. They're not going on straight, so they got cushions. So
That's
they
cut down.
Well, but you know they're there too. So
Yeah.
if you want to avoid that. No, but stood up.
I never
We
forget
did
about
have
the
the
leaves.
but I understand you. Interstate has the rough shoulder, you're going down interstate, you hit the rough patch, you freak the neck. Is that slow traffic down here, or is that just a where to stay in this lane, what the interstate? Tractor trailers are called mothing wake ups, because mothing is where a tractor trailer truck follows the lights in front, but doesn't pay attention to traffic. Do the interstate roughing sides, does that slow anybody down, or is it just a, hey, wake up?
Yeah, I mean, it was intended just to basically keep vehicles on the road and not going off.
Not slow down.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, whether they're distracted or you're sleeping or whatever, it's to just get them back in their lane. Rumble strips, rumble stripes.
Slow down on rough road.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, some of the best traffic calming I saw when I was near DC for a little while was the busted up roads that had asphalt, you know, potholes. Everybody goes really slow.
They did.
I mean, we could let this one fall apart, you know, but
I see like that, I didn't do that out of the shoulder. I didn't.
yeah, it's really just to keep them from dropping off into some ditch or.
I know it seems like we're not appreciative of something new. I am. However, I just want to also say this isn't an academic. We are the ones traipsing back and forth on this road, coming in and out. And all I can say is for me, it's really dangerous.
Yeah.
And even the police officers that, as I call, and I would encourage everybody, please call Metro and ask them to come out and sit on Blackman, and they'll say, it's dangerous for us to do that. And I thought, well, it's dangerous for us to pull out of our driveways.
Yeah.
And so please bombard them, ask them to come and get people for speeding. But it does seem as though, I guess I would ask you, you said they had 300 feet, you're going to do 400. Why is that?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back and just, it's, what I wanted to try to do was place those signs 400 feet apart, but actually between that middle center line sign and the first post is going to be like 300. So.
But if people disregard the speed sign of posting,
Yeah.
which these will be postings, why would they, just because it's narrowed a bit, that's posting, do you think possibly be effective enough?
We're going to see. I mean, you know, it's easier in this application to, since it's kind of a pilot, to say we need to tighten it up a little bit more until we get a result that meets the needs of the community and improves safety. So I think I would call it a pilot, experiment, whatever you want to call it. But I think there's an opportunity here to see what we need to do on a road like this that also lives in other parts of Davidson County.
How often will you review what you're looking at?
So
And if
the-
it changed quickly.
So you got 2 sets of feedback signs out there right now, and I can see those signs, so I can check the speeds on those. So just after implementation, we could see, oh, there's like 20 per hour drop, there's 5 miles per hour drop. And we get a little bit more, you know, can we tighten it up a little, 10 mile an hour. So I mean, I will, I'm crazy busy and John's crazy busy. I'll have to put somebody on this in my office. And I've got a couple of guys that like to research papers, more than anything else. So this will be probably fun for them. But I hope we can figure out a way to tool this where we can see good driver response. So.
So on Blackman Road, saying every 400 feet, how many reductions are we, or how many in the center posts are we on Blackman Road? What does that amount to?
What I want to do is, and maybe you guys can tell me the worst location, is if I can get it to work in the worst location, I can get it to work everywhere. But
In front of everyone, like everybody's house is here.
Each of
everybody's.
I mean, we have one of those.
So y'all can just fight it out. I'm just gonna pick one then, like in the middle of the straightaway, and I'm just gonna probably do, basically like 3 sets and just try to tweak it and see if I can get kind of result.
Could I ask you to do 4? There is, that road is long.
Yeah, I
Really
mean,
long. If you
I'm
could do
happy to do 4.
Hills going.
The hills are dangerous.
The
We-
hill is, yeah, I agree. I mean, the tree foliage and all that, especially during the spring, there's not good sight distance there.
Like sometimes now before they take a right onto Trousdale too. So if there's one closer to that, like it will, because there's accidents there probably every other month in front of my house where people rear-ended somebody because the person in front of them is slowing down, but they're not slowing down. And there's no
Yeah.
yield sign. There's just, you can keep on going. So,
And not
Maybe
everybody
there.
realizes that.
Yeah, they're not supposed to stop,
Yeah.
and people sometimes do, so.
we're close to getting rear-ended every time we turn into our.
I bet.
Yeah.
You know, it's too. Okay, so it's 6:36. Have we gotten our questions, I mean, for the most part answered? I mean,
Can you just let us know when will this be implemented?
Yep, so there's some products that I need to get access to, actually have access to that center sign. What I need to do is get access to the flex posts on the white edge line. That is going to be very resilient. And I am hoping to have that one in a month or so. I might have it sooner. But I can start the design for this now, and I can share that with Councilmember Johnston. She can distribute. Then I can give you a timeline for implementation. But luckily for this type of implementation, we could do this over the winter, so there's not a slowdown in the winter, like paving or like cushions. So we could do this. I would love to have this up by Christmas. So I think it would be like if it works, it'll be a Christmas gift. If it's not, I'll just, grab and get some emails. But anyway, so we're gonna try. This is a test really for a lot more applications besides Blackman.
Well, we're happy for you to continue to keep testing. More the better.
Right?
And thanks for making your F the pilot.
Yeah. Let's see here. Gotta get the next
See,
one up.
road cushions that you're wanting to, would be great too.
okay, so you're switching over to. hard
Yeah, I'm
pass.
switching over.
So,
Here you go.
so the Harding Place thing, is something, I've talked to the Caldwell Ivy Neighborhood Association about it before, so this isn't new to them, but maybe new to some of the Creek Hall folks. So Harding Place is like mini I-65, even though it is 100% residential street, except for there's a church. But it's just always blown my mind how fast people are going. It's obviously a drag racing strip. We've had a neighbor who died when he was rear-ended just trying to turn into his driveway. It's a dangerous street.
2 weeks ago, we had another death coming off of Multimodal Road, 17-year-old coming up toward Danby. 17-year-old killed right there, right before Danby, between Danby and Multimodal Road. That was 3 weeks ago. We've had another death on Harding.
So, yeah, so if you can imagine the challenges that we've had trying to figure out traffic calming applications for Blackman Road, it's exponentially worse for Harding Place, which, like I said, is all, I mean, it's just a small interstate, and volumes are, I don't even know what the volumes are. Do we have volumes on Harding Place? Have we measured that before?
Yeah, I think it's 30,000, 30,
Yeah.
34, 30.
So, clearly vertical measures are not going to work there. And so again, going back to narrowing your field, and I also really wanted to have something that would beautify the area to make it feel more residential. And so whatever popped in my brain was this like boulevard, thought process, removing that center lane, not all of it, obviously, we're going to have some places for people to turn in the intersections and all that. But to add some trees and for it to really feel like a residential boulevard. The drag racing, in my opinion, would probably all but go away, because at that point, there's no way to weave sort of in and out, which removing that is huge in and of itself. And thankfully, when I brought this to Mr. Freeze's attention, he was like, you know what, I think that's a great idea. I almost fell over, because typically I'm pushed back, and I have to keep beating the heck out of them. And he's like, I think that's a great idea. And we have Vision $0 for it. Like, oh my God. What? Yeah.
Was the party?
Yeah. So what we're going to tell you today is it's not, they're still tweaking where these breaks are going to be. And I think that's going to be a work in progress, and we'll get some feedback as we move forward through this process. But we have time. One thing that I learned a couple of days ago is that it is a state route, so we have to work with TDOT. TDOT is planning on repaving this road in 2025. So that's when this will happen, which gives us plenty of time to talk about it and tweak ideas and all this fun stuff. But I just wanted to give you, let them talk to you about sort of, and see the pictures of the conceptual idea of what it's going to be. And then we can continue the conversation over the next couple of years. So I may have ruined your.
You did, yeah.
Sorry.
You presented it all for me. My name is John Gozin. I'll also work with Jason at NDOT Nashville. I manage our Vision Zero program. Vision Zero is a new program for Nashville. We finalized our plan last year. It's adopted by a resolution with that council. So our Vision Zero is focusing on our fatal and serious injury crashes. And if we now, with our capital spending plans, get allocated money, usually around $10 a year, focus on these safety projects. We have about, we've identified a high-speed network, which is about 200 miles of most dangerous roadways in Nashville, and that's where we focus our efforts. We see a lot of pedestrian fatal crashes. We see a lot of distracted drivers, impaired drivers. We're working with the police department and TDOT and other agencies on attacking Vision Zero from all fronts: infrastructure, education, awareness, enforcement, and encouragement. Those are the 5 E's that we focus on. But wanted to talk to you about specifically Harding Place and what we're looking at on that corridor. So I'm going to sit down as well. So I just have a couple slides here with some pictures. If anyone's curious, TDOT has this dashboard that's interactive that you can look at resurfacing projects, and a number of other TDOT's projects. So if you Google TDOT iTrips dashboard, you'll see this. You can, and I have this query just for the planned resurfacing for the area. Blue is 2023, red is 2024, green is 2025. Some of those green 2025 will probably shift to 2026 as their funding is allocated. But right now, Harding Place is scheduled for 2025, And if we coordinate with TDOT, when we coordinate with TDOT saying we're working on these plans, we're addressing this vision goals that TDOT's also interested in resolving, they'll probably continue to progress that project so we can implement this quicker. So zoomed in, TDOT plans to resurface Harding Place from I-24. It actually goes all the way to Franklin Road, but Nashville's jurisdiction stops at 65, so that's what we're focusing on. I believe it's Forest Hill, maybe? Oak Hill is across the street there. So this is where our area of focus. Yeah.
What did you say for your jurisdiction? What did you say?
So Nashville Metro Nashville doesn't manage the roads in our satellite cities. So Berry Hill, Oak Hill, Forest Hill, LMD, Goodlettsville. So quickly, here's a map overview with our Vision Zero plan. We have our higher injury networks. You'll see the yellow, orange, brown. That's for tiers, low tier, mid tier, high tier. Harding Place is completely on our high injury network. So we have council has allocated through this most recent operating plan surplus funds and have allocated $3 million of Vision Zero improvements on Harding Place. So we are looking to implement a lot of enhancements on this corridor in coordination with the plan resurfacing. You also, Harding Place also has, you see a bunch of dots. These are high injury intersections. Have the gray dots are priority intersections. There's some orange dots that are general high injury intersections. We have pink dots that are pedestrian. So Harding Place is a dangerous corridor for vehicles, for people, for everyone. And we're looking in coordination with this resurfacing project to try to address a lot of these systemic issues on this corridor. So, as you mentioned, there was a fatal crash west of Nashville Pike a couple weeks ago. There was also another fatal crash on the east side of Pike last month as well. This is showing the serious injury and fatal crashes that have occurred since 2018 on this corridor. We see more crashes west of Nashville Pike. We do see a number. We have more pedestrian crashes on the east of Nashville. But the corridor is dangerous. High speeds, high volumes. Lot of things going on. Distract the driver. It's a stressful road. So we're looking to try to resolve and address and account for all these issues. That being said, TDOT has also looked at these corridors as well, and they've already identified and moving forward with some projects. They have conducted PRSIs, which are pedestrian road safety initiatives. They've done a PRSI on Nolensville Pike. So I'm sorry, I shifted the view on you. Harding Place is now up and down. 65 is at the top, 24 is way below. So this is Nolensville Pike, south to downtown. So TDOT has already identified some enhancements they want to do to address some safety deficiencies on Nolensville Pike. This is Nolensville Pike at Harding Place. They are planning to invest significant money in this intersection, make it safer, try to slow cars down more, make it less stressful. So in coordination to our $1 million, TDOT's allocating additional resources for this corridor as well.
That would be the same.
Yeah, TDOT kind of works a little bit slower, but the hope is that it'll all be implemented with the research.
And those are roads and TDOT.
Right, and Harding,
That's two TDOT roads coming together.
yes, Harding Place is a TDOT road. So we're going to have to go through all the hoops and permissions and coordination to TDOT standards, but we do that frequently with coordination.
And then those roads.
Right. Yeah. Additionally to Nolensville Pike, TDOT's also done another road safety audit on Harding Place near I-24. They've identified a similar intersection improvement at NDOT Pike. That's off this resurfacing project. But Limbar Drive, they are proposing Harding to try to slow down train movements and improve some of the pedestrian accommodations at the intersection. So we're accounting for these projects in coordination our project. So that being said, the concept that we are approaching for Harding Place, west of Nolensville Pike, is to install a raised center median for about the entire segment from Rosedale to Nolensville Pike. So existing, you have about 56 feet of pavement from white line to white line. Jumps down slightly in some areas. What we're proposing is 10-foot lane and as wide of a median as we can. And coordinate with the beautification groups to install tree or shrubs that are consistent that TDOT will permit, that making sure that we're keeping the visibility, but also coordinating.
Can y'all see the numbers where what's existing is 11-foot drive lanes, the 12-foot center lane down to 10-foot drive lanes and 13, actually, what is that? 15 and a half,
16 feet, yeah.
16 feet in the middle will be taken up. So again, visually narrowing, well, not visually narrowing.
Yes.
Like there will be a curve there, yeah.
So I think you guys are all familiar with the current geometry of Harding Place. Their driveways maybe every feet. Cannot accommodate every driveway to have full access and also install the medians. So we will be changing some of the access where it's going to utilize U-turns and yes.
If this is a Courtney issue, maybe, when we lived in our house in 1987, there were no circular driveways where driveways had 2 entrances into Harding Place. Then one popped up and I said, great idea, I want one. Then I called Metro, can I have a circular driveway? No, we can't. I'd rather start a place that has a lot of circular driveways that one driveway has 2 entrances onto Harding. Has anybody taken the fact about one house, one home, 2 entrances to Harding? Has anybody think about?
So I know our code has driveway standards. And
I know the answer to that. I didn't realize that we regulated if you could have a circular drive or not.
We were told to put up one house could have 1 entrance to the road. And now I see circular driveways, 2 entrances.
So I'm not codes department, but I know our code states for driveways permitted for inch of your road, and I know less than 150 feet, you can only have access. Might be some that are grandfathered in, some that maybe didn't get permitted, some that had variance through the BZA for example, but that, or they might have frontages that exceed the 100 feet where they could. Private.
Years.
Plant a tree and put in front of their driveway.
But TDOT has created an access, so this is a TDOT route. TDOT has given the authority to Nashville to approve driveways with the understanding that we would standard. TDOT on majority of jurisdictions, or TDOT on majority of state routes throughout the state, TDOT reviews driveway permits, where we can have standards without coordinating with TDOT. But TDOT did create an access manual where they have created some avenues where if we want to modify access standards in coordination with a greater access management plan, we could do so. And so we could potentially explore changing the driveway standards for this section of roadway as we're intentional with managing access. So this being said, green is generally where we're looking at proposing. It's tough to see this view. There's slight median breaks that are not at the intersection. Actually, look at this next slide. So this is about 1.3 miles, and there's 12 median about every 800 that we believe meets TDOT's requirements. and should be sufficient to accommodate the traffic demand on the corridor for the people that live on the corridor we're trying to access.
Gene, I think there's one right in front of your house.
That's what it looks like.
Okay.
These are all general, these are just, high level as we go through design and coordination with TDOT. They could potentially move, but this is just approximately where things make sense based off existing rights at intersections. Yeah, that is something that we're going to explore through this is with the controlled access where we see more cars drive through intersections. And so we need to look into signalizing some of these existing intersections to accommodate traffic. So yes, that is something.
Right, I blew my damn.
That's hard.
Can't get out. We never really get back to the end because it's backed up. Blackman. Having like right at that.
Yeah, what's nice about the center turn lane, continuous center turn lane, is that you have that more easily two-stage entrance,
Yeah.
where you'll be able to enter the median, but you won't necessarily be able to drive it 100 straight out to wait. Yeah, there are some trade-offs with this. It might be able to access the road, especially at peak hours when there's a spot. But we do want to look into signalization.
So
Don't hear that.
speaking of gridlock, coming from a person that lives on Blackman, that tries to stay off Harding as much as possible.
We need you to not, though.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is we need everybody else to be able to go to Harding. So what are you looking at to try to at least maybe help that light, Harding? Is it a longer right-hand turn lane there? I know a lot of people get in that right lane and it backs up all the way to the hill.
Yeah.
Because they can't, they're turning, but.
Yeah, and so Vision Zero safety, the end solution is not necessarily going to be to increase delay or make it more quicker to go through the section. So what a project like this is not necessarily going to significantly change the travel times. I actually feel like it may travel times. We're not removing lanes, but we're not, to address your comments, we should probably be looking to widen Harding Place to 7 lanes and creating a flyover to truly shift people onto Harding Place and Nelsonville Pike. That's not what we are pursuing with this project. We're looking to, and I'll go through some quick facts and we can go back to what.
Isn't that trying to move traffic off or move traffic on, or just trying to slow it down?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So I'm not seeing any traffic flow. I've lived there, I have seen 3 deaths. The neighbor across in front of us was sitting in the turn lane. Dragsters from Danby came down, killed him in the driveway.
Right.
We're out there screaming, and we're directing traffic. Every day I see tractor trailers, tankers, 60 miles an hour. Every morning I see a Metro school bus trying to stop traffic because kids are trying to get out and off the school bus. Then from west to east, they don't even see the school bus. So I'm getting the impression we're not necessarily trying to shift my traffic to you or your traffic to me and change lives. We want Harding Interstate slow down. Am I correct?
You're absolutely correct. Yeah. And so some of the facts.
Blackman slowed down.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. I personally want everyone to slow down. Yeah. The entertainment vehicles downtown that everyone hated, I loved. It was forcing everyone to drive slow. It was making it safer to access.
One of the things about the intersection improvement that you're talking about, Harding and Nolensville, I think right now, I mean, it'd be interesting to know exactly what TDOT is going to do, but then also NDOT had applied for a federal grant
Yeah.
for the improvement, and I don't know exactly what they were gonna do, but it was literally gonna be, I think, from 440, right, all the way to the Nolensville Harding intersection. And it was gonna be a massive change there, and we didn't get that grant funding, but I think
We were.
Buttigieg said, apply again, and like, hint, hint, it'll be up.
So yeah,
But-
yeah.
So there's more things that can happen, but that's a TDOT thing. We'll see if we can get more information on what they're going to do now and then what could happen, assuming we receive the grant this year, right? This year.
Correct, yeah, we should find out in December. It's the
Okay.
Safe Streets and Roads for All
Yeah.
grant that was recently created
Yeah.
with the bipartisan infrastructure law, focusing on, safe facilities for.
So that's gonna basically take the people that are using Harding as a pass-through from 65 to 24.
They're using it in the morning for 24, because 24 backs up, so they come over to 65, so they can get that set.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, I mean-
Issues right there.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna divert traffic or change volume.
It's
but-
not, it's,
But
the
it
intent
will
of it,
make it a smoother and not so,
And I can tell everybody in the city from the Danby line to the Trousdale line, and sit in my front porch and watch 5 dragsters take up all lanes into Trousdale.
so let me quickly run through a few,
There.
let me quickly run through a few bullets on why I believe it will actually improve the driving experience and better consistent drive on Harding Place. And you might then therefore see, potentially increase in travel times. The traffic's always going to be there. Gridlock is always going to be gridlock at the peak hours. We're not changing the travel lanes. We're not adding the travel lanes. But through some of these things, we may be able to better accommodate what's there. So there's national research that has analyzed a number of different implementation strategies, and analyzes measures of effectiveness. And there's clear data that shows a race intermedian on these types of urban roadways based off these conditions. You see a reduction of crashes, and it's about 30%. What does that mean? Well, in your area from Nolensville Pike to Trousdale, there was 425 crashes in a 5-year span. And a 30% reduction in that we would see, so 2 of those were fatal, 11 of those were serious injury, 9 crashes, calling the ambulance, police cars, closing the lane. 170 of those were during your peak hours. So that probably doesn't help any of your congestion. So that reduction, we would see, you could see 30 fewer crashes on those roads per year. So we're having a more consistent drive. Now, maybe, if we can make Harding Place more consistent, safer, fewer crashes, maybe people will less frequently drive on Blackman. Hopefully. Narrowing the lanes, creating a center median will force drivers to feel less comfortable. I'm sure when you're driving, especially in non-peak hours, drivers feel like they can drive as fast as they want to because they have that center of turn lane for forgiveness. It feels open. Reducing the lanes, feeling that you're closer to the car next to you and that you have no other option, it will cause people.
Well, I can assure you, as we are sitting in that center turn lane trying to get in their driveway, it does not slow anybody down. Our cars shake
Yeah.
as they go by.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. The other things that we hope to accomplish with creating these medians is reconnecting these communities from across the street. I don't blame anyone for not wanting to ever cross the street. There's not sidewalks on the north side of the road, but even if there were, I would never feel comfortable taking my family across the street to see someone. And we're trying to improve your guys' quality of life. There's opportunities for beautification, slower speeds, less noise, less stress, and it should make it a better experience for everyone, those that work and also drive on this corridor.
And speaking of sidewalks, the sidewalk that was approved and delayed bonkers amounts of time
years.
From Danby to Nolensville, it is happening, I'm not lying. I think they've started the process of right-of-way acquisitions.
So, yeah, so those are grant funded things that we have to go through TDOT's
Yeah, TDOT
procurement.
changed the.
There's about 60 or 100 properties on that will require to acquire right of way, so that could be probably a 2 or 3 year process to go through right of way, TDOT's approvals to begin construction.
So if anybody lives on that side of
That's like going east.
going
Or Danby
towards
to Nolensville, like,
Yeah,
Because they weren't at the yard.
Yeah.
South
south
Yeah.
side.
there'll be a sidewalk there.
They'll take care of those people with the,
Yeah. Actually, those that are existed got theirs paid.
They'll pay.
Fargo.
Was the date determined for the resource? It sounds like we're kind of ready to go. I don't think anybody disagrees that this is an awesome idea. So we're really just contingent on the resurfacing plan that's 2 years from now.
Yep.
How was that priority set from?
TDOT makes that determination.
Is any other projects like, thinking out loud, are there any other big projects like this tied to resurfacing? Like, is there an opportunity for us to swap with another street to bring this forward because we've ignored this?
I don't think anything, so you're only talking about who we bring this into next year's plan. I guarantee TDOT's 2024 schedule is pretty set at this point. It takes them a while to create the plans and bid it out, go through their process. I don't believe we'll be able to take anything unless the congressperson or representative state people may be able to have better political power to do some of those things. But I don't anticipate at this point we'd be able to bring that up.
So I can ask about it. I mean, so the answer is probably no. We're probably stuck with 2025. And honestly, the way that TDOT works, I'm hoping that 2025 sticks. It could get bumped to 2026. But I can ask.
For me personally, I know you guys want this as soon as we can. 1 year is to do the design, to do the permitting with TDOT, to then do stormwater coordination, survey and everything. That's going to be 9 months or so. So I don't, even if it's going to come next year, I don't know if we would be ready to fit it into that schedule. So yeah, this is a rough schedule, timeline of events, and then I'll come talk to you. So this fall and this spring, we'll work on finalizing our concept, coordinating with TDOT on high level approvals, and then we'll be moving into survey, design, coordination, approvals, and what we'll need to do too is with our project, TDOT will then need to accommodate the new striping plan and signage, those sorts of things. So we'll coordinate with them, button that up. We'll then go start construction during the winter or early spring, and the resurfacing program will not resurface in cold weather, so they won't start until springtime. So we'll begin hopefully construction at the end of next year, and as soon as that's done, TDOT will come in and surface and strike. That's the hope. If TDOT still plans for 2025, then all of our if you guys don't slow it down, and we keep getting support.
Hang on just a second. He's got his hand up and.
Yeah, I think she had.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that a question? I love the idea. And the boulevard on Harding. I think at the same time, the approach to Blackman Road, and I know the options are limited. Blackman Road's gonna look like a small motorway, signs everywhere, having these steel beams on the side of the road. Is there any case that you make traffic on Blackman Road? Local traffic?
I mean, I don't know that you can force that. I mean, I don't know of a way to say, you don't live here, you can't. I mean, I would love to.
I'll have him. I mean, I'll have to have Jason come back up, but I don't know based off the roadway network. How well. We'll definitely have to coordinate The way to do that is literally put up barriers. So I don't think, no, I'm not trying to defer any traffic, just accommodate the traffic and make it more consistent.
Do like we were creating a straight jack. Are you going to put up the things to test out the flexible barriers to see how?
So, yeah, so originally when I talked to Diana about it, she said that's what we'd probably do, is put the bollards up to sort of start training people, and then we could tweak, like, so there's bollards all here, you can't, and then the bollards would stop, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I want to brake here, this brake doesn't really make sense. Just sort of, is that, because that was the only time I had heard that was when she said that, and that was a year or whatever ago, so, I don't know. Is
Yeah,
that-
I guess for me,
No, it's ugly.
well, yeah, my question on
Very
parking place, you're talking about putting up, can we put up delineate right now to respond and work through things? I guess my question is that this center turn, or my thoughts are that this center turn lane is there. I think it will be a very easy decision for cars to disregard that and enter that turn lane, and now we're adding much more complexity on a high volume, higher speed roadway. And are we gonna be able to actually for any sort of faults based off that? And I don't know if TDOT is open to some sort of delineation and those sorts of things. I don't know if they would want us to be playing around the roadway, especially a high volume roadway.
And I had some concerns when Diana said that too. That's a lot of clutter that I think would create more probably confusion. I think the pro and the con, it's like the pro and the con would be.
And then getting run over and there being much.
Yeah, well. but
We
so
have
I-
much more flexibility to try out new ideas. Jason's great at trying out a lot of ideas, thinking through a lot of unique situations. We don't really have that flexibility from TDOT roads to try out a lot of these unique things.
But I think once we really hone in on the exact engineering of where we're gonna have like the U-turn, whatever you call it, outside of the intersections, just breaks, and we'll just call them breaks. And like, I could see that, I know where Jane lives, and I was like, oh, that's right in front of Jane's house. So you can kind of be able to visualize, and we can probably put it to where, even when we've had traffic calming things, and they said, well, where are the speed cushions gonna go? And we can have it by address so that you will know. And there are gonna be some people that are not gonna be able to turn left into their driveway.
Right.
You're gonna have to go down, do a U-turn, whatever. There's some people that are gonna be negatively impacted.
A U-turn on Orange Place.
Yes.
Yes.
In rush hour.
Yes.
So
It's all that long rush hour. I don't
no,
know. in terms of-
no solution is gonna be perfect.
I'm just trying to understand that.
No solution is gonna be perfect, and there are gonna be people that are gonna have to, change some things about their, but I think that overall, when we have a much more beautiful, calmer, slower, safer street, that the trade-offs are well worth, having to go down a little way.
And that probably's gonna apply to those that have been living there since '87.
Right.
Anybody who comes and buys on Harding Place, they're buying with what exists, they're gonna adapt.
Yeah.
I think. But come along with your question, what can we do now? And I don't know this. I know we've got these signs and maybe just notification signs. It pops up how fast you're driving and
The radar
back on down, my God, I should go 30 and go 32. Would those signs have any effect on Harding, like between now and?
My thinking is that there's so much going on in Harding, and it's so stressful to drive. I'm curious how observant a driver is right now of its surroundings. I'm curious would there be any effects to some of these, roadside.
I can tell you what slows them down. Motorcycle, cop, little blue and white cars,
Traffic.
and the big T-Dot SUV.
Yeah.
And I can't remember.
To construct. Right now, I'm installing 900 feet of medians on 31st Avenue, and I think it took weeks This is 6,000 linear feet, but I think then 31st Avenue was pretty rushed. So, I mean, I think it could take a few weeks. I don't think it's a multi-year, unless we have to do stormwater. We'll have to coordinate with our stormwater department on. If that's a requirement, that may delay things, and we might have to pull back on the medians and the costs as well. We haven't explored those things yet. I don't anticipate we'll have to do stormwater if the roadway is designed like a typical roadway where the crown of the road's in the middle of the road, and stormwater goes to the outside. Unless the parking place is sloped one way, we may have stormwater issues. So, but it shouldn't be more than a few months, I anticipate. I think there was, yeah, right there.
NDOT road. You're putting it up to the third, fourth story, other, and Nolensville and not being mowed or something like that. Who would be?
I think maintenance wise, I think NDOT mows the roads on the, Jason, I think NDOT mows any.
So I know.
Okay,
So TDOT doesn't have the capability to do small medians like that. They just don't have the
I know.
equipment. They have those
Mark's
massive things that like along the interstates, you'll see that kind of stuff. And so what ends up happening is TDOT and NDOT will have an MOU
Yep.
where there's some money exchanged that they pay us to maintain that. So it ends up being, it's their fiscal responsibility. It's our
Same with like
fiscal.
street sweeping, we have bike lanes and other things. TDOT is supposed to be responsible for street sweeping their own routes. They mainly focus on the interstate. So we street sweep, we bought a mini street sweeper for bike lanes. So, and I don't really feel like I'm not involved in it on a daily basis. I don't think it's 4-story. I think it's a general agreement. And TDOT will be responsible for the lines on the road, the pavement, signage, some of the signage, but it's fairly general to understand where those trade-offs happen.
You say median, I kind of visualize.
Median, yeah.
Okay, there's still medians on Knowles Road. So is that what you're talking about, the curb, and you're gonna have grass and you're gonna
Yeah,
have trees?
it's blurry, I apologize.
The part of Nolensville Road that's toward Old Hickory, you mean?
Yeah, like for
Those-
Tuscaloosa.
Yes.
Yes, the ditch, some of the median.
Yes, so it'll be raised, and there'll be trees.
Yeah, 6-inch
And it
curb.
will be maintained, because Nolensville Road was not maintained, and that was a nightmare, and there was an issue with, well, TDOT's supposed to do it, well, NDOT's supposed to do it, and I think they finally got it worked out, but
And we have NDOT has a beautification department. They have beautification liaisons, that community commissioners that live in their
we need one of
communities.
these.
I think there's abilities where there could, and even if like the community wants to adopt and plant their own specific things, I think NDOT can go into MOUs with certain neighborhoods to make, we'll be making sure that what's planted is appropriate, but, we can work through a number of different. Right, yeah, Antioch Pike, yeah, this one, Harding Place is unique where you have so many driveways. Antioch Pike is not really doing, the access management because it stops at the intersection.
Right before Smiles.
Yeah.
Back this way.
Yes, yeah, Antioch Pike is a 5-lane road that we recently, installed some raised medians on.
Hey, more forward than I was, but I still got some concerns. We're giving up 2 feet in each lane.
Correct.
This side of the road from 4ST. You're gonna have a mail carrier down here, delivering mail, and you can't go around. You got a guy over here gonna turn left, but he's gonna stop traffic while he's trying to turn. There's gonna be road rage. Go
Well, we'll design the medians where if you want to turn left, you'll be inside the median. You won't be in the traffic lane.
Well, I can't do that if I turn left in my truck. I can't turn. I mean, if I'm in the turn lane, I can't make a U-turn. Not adequate room.
Yeah, correct, you cannot stand in it this way.
I'm
We'll,
talking about turning this way.
yes, yeah, we'll design the medians where you can fit in and then be able to U-turn, not make out outside it. TDOT will ensure that we meet those standards But yeah, you're right. The outside lane, USPS, they'll be stopping. And friction is good for slowing speed. And we see higher speeds when on non-peak hours where there's less cars, it's drive fast. So if we're intentional in causing safe friction, that is not making things dangerous, but making people uncomfortable or making them aware they should be driving slower.
Well, where UPS and Amazon drivers are now delivering, they pull into the turn lane and park, and then they're delivering this way,
Yeah,
left
that's
traffic,
scary.
and then they.
As scary as them and as a driver, I would.
Amazon truck, park, stop. Hey, I'm going, who's gonna hit you?
Okay, so it's 7:19. We went 19 minutes over what I wanted. Does anybody else have any other questions? And you can always email me if I don't know the answer right off the bat. I typically do, but I'll get it.
Just one, can you, somebody explain this to me? So Blackman Road is considered a collector road. Does that because I get it's because there are so many cars that go on it, but who determines what a collector road is? Is it default? Is it just because so many people end up on their road, it's a collector road, or is it because somebody through planning made that the collector, or can through efforts it no longer be a collector road because of things that are suggested to be implemented?
Yeah, so we follow the major and collector street plan, which is a planning document that the planning department manages and the planning commission that's appointed by council and the mayor's office oversees and approves. So the creation and the upkeep of the major collector street plan document, I'm not sure what the methodology was at the time to establish it. NDOT is looking to revise the major collector street plan and update it in partnership with planning. Part of its volume, part of its land use, part of its character, all those play a part in what should a road look like and function like to accommodate the people that need it and use it.
But Blackman will always be a collector, not only because of the volume, but because it connects to arterials, which is Edmondson Pike and Trousdale, because I've asked these questions before. So whether that was intentional when the road was built, and God knows when the road was built, I've got no idea. But just because of that, and there's, in the way that our street, because I was looking at it, it's like, well, there's never going to be any diversion off of Blackman onto Harding for sure, because most of those people are going off to the Nippers Corner area. Well, nobody's going to drive down Harding to then take a right onto Nolensville and then take a right onto Edmondson Pike. It doesn't make any sense. No matter what, they're always going to go on Blackman Road. So I've just sort of resolved myself. There's always going to be 15, 16, 17,000 people that are going to drive on the road. I just want to slow down.
I think there's opportunity, there could have been opportunities to change that use and context and those sorts of things if it wasn't house after house after house. If there was big parcels that it's one or two buyers and they're going to completely change the land use of it, they might be able to then say, okay, well, let's reimagine this road. But I think that since it's a high density residential road that connects to arterial, it's kind of locked in on.
Well, and another intersection that needs to be improved is Blackman and Edmondson as well. But the problem with that is that bridge is actually in really good shape. I was hoping it was going to fall apart because then they would have to rebuild it anyway and they could widen it. But they just had a structural engineer go out like 2 months ago, and that dang thing is pretty good.
We're too good.
So it's like everything else is falling apart. How come this bridge can't fall apart? But anyway, so because that will back traffic up all the way well past my house, Anyway, if y'all have any other questions, one more.
It's not entirely related to this. I was curious, what part of the planning you guys involved in, like, if someone was going to put a development in that would have a high impact on this road project? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have a development group that they coordinate on every stage of the development from very early on through the planning, through the building permit, through making sure impacts are mitigated. So, yeah, we require traffic impact studies, and we've just recently revised our traffic impact study guidelines to make more called multimodal transportation assessments. But we review those, we ensure that impacts are being properly mitigated for the community, that their impacts are offset. And then we make those recommendations to the planning commission. Planning commission then can choose to accept them, modify them, dismiss them. I believe 9 times out of 100, they approve the conditions or add even more conditions to it. So we're just, we're conducting our review. You're talking about planning basis of reason, STs, those sorts of things. That's our interaction with planning.
So the developers have been also approved, so.
Yeah, they're coordinating with us at the same time.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But what you're talking about, we're not even there yet.
Oh, I know. I attended the meeting.
Yeah.
And, we as neighbors are trying to use sources that are full for public. And this was a consensus, and some neighbors came and see, you know, and some are new. This is about the proposed 16 and development on the corner of Danby and Hardy Place at South Minister. And they had a meeting as recent as September 30th. And so we kind of candidly refer to ourselves as the corridor neighbors. Traffic impact of 100 and a potential 124 cars based on just the units. Maybe it was a single or double. We just want to study. We just want to know as neighbors.
Yeah, and you
mentioned the traffic.
And you can ask for their traffic study, or you can do an open record request. Once they submit to us, you can do an open records request for us. I don't know if the staff reports from the planning commission, if they're now traffic studies or attachments, but developers, if you ask for it and they're asking for you to approve it and support it, they should be able to provide it to you more times. But you can either open record request through us or work with the developer.
And there's nothing to request right now because nothing has been submitted.
Yeah, they will be
But
required.
Metro Legal right now is in the process of determining whether or not what they're wanting to do is going to require a zone change. I have a feeling. I have a feeling it's going to require a zone change. And at that point, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, we're hoping for that. I just wanted to use my guide and I'm excited.
Second.
Oh, fine. See that?
I'm in.
So I just kind of. You know, you're gonna tell it to us straight, so it might as well avoid, the availability of the patient. I will see Bob that, I've already logged in here with native trees and a native plant. A nice flow photo of.
Yeah, and we have people that are compliant with our records, creating MOUs with communities. If they
Might turn into just over. Not too hot. See, I'm already aware of vertical distraction. That is, was not captured.
Thank y'all so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. And if y'all have any other questions, shoot them to me. I can either answer them or get them answered.
Yeah, in the future, as this progresses more, we'll create a website on our page where you can check in and see all this data, interact, provide comments that way too. We're still in the early stages right now.
Thank you, teacher. Yes, thank you. Courtney, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have one question.